with 10 FA Cup final triumphs. No team has won the FA Cup as many times as Manchester United. From the days of Johnny Carey in 1948 to Roy Keane in 1999, this competition has always captured the imagination of supporters and players alike. So sit back and enjoy some of the greatest goals in the history of the Cup. To kick off, we go back nearly 30 years to the era when Manchester United had amazingly just been relegated. They got straight back into the top flight, thanks in part to their fervent support, home and away, and to a new breed of star. Gone were Best, Law and Charlton, but in their place, the likes of the multi-talented Londoner, Gordon Hill. There was no bigger rivalry in football in the 1970s than Leeds and Manchester United.
Gordon Hill, the shot charged down, little fall here for Stevie Coppell! It's 2-0 to Manchester United. And it was a stunning drive by Coppell.
Ever since the days of Matt Busby and Dennis Law, United always had a strong Scottish connection. And there have been few more popular Scotsmen to wear the red jersey than Lou Macari. Signed in 1972 from Celtic, he specialised in important goals, particularly in United's cup runs in the late 70s. Jimmy Nicholl only scored 6 goals in 248 appearances, but who could forget this one?
Here's Jimmy Nicholl on the volley! Oh, Manchester United take the lead against Brighton with an absolute perler by Jimmy Nicholl. No wonder teammates have rushed to congratulate him. The header out by Brighton's defence didn't clear the penalty area, and Nicholl met it on the full.
Another Irishman to excel in a red shirt was Frank Stapleton. He was brought by Ron Atkinson from Arsenal to give United an added touch of class up front. He wasn't always the most prolific, but on his day there were few more complete strikers in the game. Particularly strong in the air, Stapleton was also deceptively quick and clever with the ball at his feet. After losing out to Liverpool in the League Cup final this year, United were determined to get back to Wembley, and in 17-year-old Norman Whiteside, they had a young man born for the big stage.
Here goes Norman Whiteside, it's Whiteside! What a strike from Whiteside! Alveston gets the congratulations too for his part, but Norman Whiteside, that is an absolute cracker! And he had so much to do. The ball from Alveston here, it's looped over the top. O'Leary is struggling, seems to almost realise too late that Whiteside is goal side of him, and he thrashed it in. Terrific goal, and Manchester United could be on their way to the final.
United were expected to win the 1983 FA Cup final against a relegated Brighton side. But with the game poised at 1-1, Arnold Muren's searching pass found England international Ray Wilkins. Wilkins curling a rare goal to put United 2-1 in front. Now for another perfect strike.
Gordon Hill lines it up, Hill shoots, scores! Gordon Hill! It was venomously struck, he looks to the heavens, and Manchester United lead Derby County here in the semi-final. Well, even the tree is shaking, and the Manchester United fans have something to celebrate here thanks to the left boot of Gordon Hill. It took a massive deflection which may have confused the goalkeeper, but the goal will be credited to Hill, and he simply could not have struck that more beautifully. 1-0 United.
By 1985, Norman Whiteside had already played in an FA Cup final and the World Cup finals in Spain. He was now 20 years old, and he'd achieved more than most players in a career. But United were down to 10 men and needed something special here against Everton. With just 10 minutes remaining in extra time, Whiteside racing on to Mark Hughes' pass to win the cup for United. Captain Marvel proved United's inspiration for 10 years and more. This was the second replay against Queen's Park Rangers. Robson went into this game having swallowed his tongue in the first meeting. Undeterred, he was determined to play and scored another memorable goal past future England keeper David Seaman. There were few quicker players than Andrei Kanchelskis, and on a day when United had been reduced to 10 men with Peter Schmeichel sent off in the first half, the explosive pace of Kanchelskis proved Charlton's undoing. This goal put United 3 up and into the FA Cup semi-finals.
The second goal for Manchester United, scored by number 14, Andrei Kanchelskis.
Mark Hughes, a scorer of great goals rather than a great goal scorer. With the semi-final against Oldham approaching full time, United were trailing 1-0.
But in goes Hughes, and he's broken it, and broken Oldham's hearts. In the very nick of time, it's Mark Hughes for Manchester United. A saviour in this semi-final. One of the greatest volleyers around with a great volley. 1-1. And talk about the right man in the right place for Manchester United.
On a blustery night in Sheffield, the cup tie between Sheffield United and Manchester United needed something special. Cue Eric Cantona.
United have a chance here with Ryan Giggs, and he'll find Cantona in here. Chance for Eric Cantona. Oh, I say, what a goal from the Frenchman. Oh, he loves that. His manager loves it too. It's 2-0 for Manchester United, and you will not see a more exquisite chip than that all season. Well, he recognises the talent, and you felt for Alan Kelly backpedalling in the Sheffield United goal. It came from Giggs, a defence-splitting ball from him. Cantona assessed the situation. No goalkeeper on earth could have kept that one out. Alan Kelly certainly couldn't. And the chant is, "Ooh-ah, Cantona." And Manchester United are on their way to victory here over Sheffield United, thanks to the fabulous Frenchman.
There were few players with a better right foot than Dennis Irwin when he found his range, and in this fourth round meeting with Wrexham, Irwin most certainly did that. This was United's first game since Eric Cantona was banned for his kung fu attack on a fan, and supporters needed a boost. Irwin's pile driver emphatically provided it. Steve Bruce was from the old school of central defenders. If the ball was there, he'd get to it by whatever means. And he had an eye for a goal. A bullet header from a Ryan Giggs corner coming early in a fifth round tie against Leeds. United went on to win it 3-1. In an exciting third round replay, United were looking for an equaliser for the second time.
Sammy McIlroy driving through the mud for Manchester United. Then Gordon Hill to take over. Still Hill. Oh, he's hit really well! And it's back to 2-2. Oh, he's so lively up front. Look at the swerve on this from Hill. It flew in off the upright. Twice they beat behind. And twice they've drawn level. Gordon Hill to make it 2-2.
Andrei Kanchelskis was virtually unknown when he came over to England from the Ukraine in 1991, but his explosive pace and powerful shooting soon saw him embraced by United fans. His direct approach suited United's counter-attacking style, and he weighed in with more than his fair share of vital goals. Even before the days of David Beckham, United already had a free-kick specialist.
Nigel Martyn has lined up his defenders. Dennis Irwin has eyed up the opportunity. And it's Irwin who wins that duel and equalises here at Villa Park. A top-class free kick. Top corner with the help of a deflection. But it's dead-eyed Dennis for United.
A local derby against Manchester City is always special, and this fifth-round tie didn't disappoint. Trailing from the first half, United got themselves back into contention with a controversial penalty. To rub salt into City wounds, Lee Sharp then converted Phil Neville's cross to win the match. And didn't he enjoy it? The peerless George Best was just back from suspension when he scored 6 on a memorable afternoon at Northampton. Despite a less than perfect pitch, Best's control, pace and balance were all a bit too much for the opposition. They could only watch and admire as United went on to win 8-2. Hereford's muddy Edgar Street was the setting for a testing tie for a struggling Manchester United side. With a makeshift team, many predicted a shock on the cards, but it was two unsung heroes that steered United safely into the quarter-finals. Mike Duxbury acting as skipper making the break, and versatile Welshman Clayton Blackmore scoring a much-needed goal. Andy Cole giving the Reds fans hope here in this fifth round replay before Barnsley created a cup upset.
Beckham knocks it back in, and here's Andy Cole! United have pulled a goal back, it's 2-3, it's not over yet. Penetrating run down the right by Philip Neville. The clearance was poor. Knocked back in, and then there was a header back into the path of Andy Cole, and there was no offside.
Free kick specialist David Beckham again on target here against Chelsea.
Diggs has a word with Beckham. Who scored? 2-0. And David Beckham, a Londoner himself, has hurt a London club here. He's curled it round the end of the wall and past Ed Dahoui. Brilliant execution for Manchester United. The wall just wasn't wide enough.
George Best is of course remembered for his mesmeric dribbling skill, but he was also a prolific goalscorer. Here in the twilight of his Manchester United career, he converts Willie Morgan's cross to make it 1-1 in this 1972 quarter-final against Stoke. Sadly, United went out in the replay, and the great man never did win the FA Cup. There was no better exponent of the volley anywhere in football than Mark Hughes, and with United defending the trophy they'd won in 1990, they again needed a Hughes special to ensure safe passage into the fourth round. It wasn't the most spectacular volley of Hughes' career, but there was nobody more suited to taking these chances. Dwight York with one of 2 goals in a sixth-round replay.
First contact by LeBeuf, and then put in! It's a flying start here at Stamford Bridge for Manchester United. Dwight York's got it. Well, after stalemate at Old Trafford, here at Stamford Bridge, it's the away team who've got going the quicker, and it's York. LeBeuf headed it up rather than away, and it was tucked away by Dwight York. Cole and York in perfect harmony again.
United blew Chelsea away at Stamford Bridge in this tie. They were 3-0 up on the stroke of half-time.
And Manchester United threatened once more. Cole going all the way. Chelsea cut apart. It is 3-0 here at Stamford Bridge. As they were looking to make some inroads into Manchester United's lead, the home side, they suddenly find within seconds that lead is even wider. Emphatic. Manchester United, the bosses at the bridge.
1977 was a memorable year for Manchester United as they won the FA Cup for the first time in 14 years. And the man who would score the winner in the final also got a vital goal at the fifth-round stage against Southampton. Jimmy Greenoff, left unmarked to head in from close range after Lou Macari's flick on. United were battling it out on 3 fronts with Leeds United early in 1992, and the Reds drew first blood with a rare victory at Elland Road. United's new kid on the block, Ryan Giggs, typically providing the legwork, and his pinpoint cross was gratefully received by fellow Welshman Mark Hughes. United held on to win this tie 1-0, but came unstuck in the next round when they went out on penalties to Southampton. George Best may never have won the FA Cup, but he certainly helped give the competition one of its most memorable matches. After coming back from suspension, he demonstrated just how much he'd been missed by scoring 6 times in an 8-2 victory at Northampton. When he was on song, no one could touch him. In the year of United's historic treble, their FA Cup campaign started with a 3-1 win over Middlesbrough. They were 1-0 down before Andy Cole pounced on Ryan Giggs' through ball, and that got the treble campaign back on track.
Equalising goal for Manchester United, scored by the man Andy Cole.
Manchester United were defending their trophy when they took on Carlisle in the 3rd round of the FA Cup in 1978. They'd been given a scare in Carlisle, but the replay saw normal service resumed. Stuart Pancho Pearson on hand for a typically robust finish. Despite all the controversy, you just couldn't afford to gift chances to a certain Frenchman.
Oh, that's terribly misdirected by Newman. Here's Eric Cantona. Surely he must. He has. It's 2-0 Manchester United, but it was a gift of a goal. What was he thinking of? The one thing you don't do is give the ball away to Eric Cantona, off the thigh and then towing it over Brian Gunn, and surely there's no way back for Norwich now.
The Red Devils were making hard work of breaking down and improving Fulham's side here.
Nicky Butt looking for Solskjaer. Cole is in the middle. This is Cole! It's a goal for Manchester United. And it was taken so sublimely then by the arch-predator in front of goal, Andy Cole. Nicky Butt clipping that one to the far post for Solskjaer. And it was laid back invitingly, I think, throwing off a deflection. Certainly wrong-footed, the goalkeeper.
The goal for Manchester United, scored by the man Andy Cole.
After a keenly fought 0-0 draw at Old Trafford, the replay was expected to be just as close. Dwight York had other ideas.
And it's run on for York! A fantastic first-time finish by Dwight York. It's his 2nd of the game, and it's come at a crucial time to quieten the crowd and maybe end Chelsea's resistance here. Cole played a part again. And Manchester United, who have done so well at Stamford Bridge for Sir Alex Ferguson, are 2-0 up as York scores again.
There have been few more popular players at Old Trafford than the pint-sized Scotsman Lou Macari, and it was his goal against Aston Villa in the quarter-final that helped set United on their way to their 4th FA Cup triumph. The winner in a closely fought match, which finished 2-1. After Peter Schmeichel had been sent off in the first half, Mark Hughes was moved back into an unfamiliar midfield role, but that didn't stop Sparky getting another vital goal for United. At the second attempt, Hughes managing to smash the ball in from an acute angle to keep United's dreams of a first ever double well and truly alive. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer equalising to make it 2-2 in this third round tie.
Here's Solskjaer, gets inside of Melberg. Oh yes! Solskjaer does it again! The little genius, the little poacher. You can't take your eyes off him for a moment. And that has given Manchester United a lifeline. He knocks it past Melberg, gets goal side of him and scores with his left foot. It's goal number 9 of the season for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and Manchester United are back in it. Look how he cushioned that with his forehead. Drives it through the legs of Peter Schmeichel.
Georgia's amazing 6 goals in the Cup at Northampton, including this rare-headed goal.
Northampton are backpedaling furiously here. There'll be another chance for Kidd to cross this one in, and it's angled in towards Best. George Best for Manchester United. He flings himself in for some glory here, but he was left totally unmarked, and it's 1-0. Northampton are punished.
Brian Robson scored in 4 semi-finals for Manchester United. Here he latches on to Ryan Giggs' corner to put United in front against Oldham Athletic. Robson spent much of this season out injured, but this goal signalled a return to form for the then England captain. A game that would end in a crushing victory for United. Having clawed their way back into this one, United's goal machine clicked into gear.
Here's Scholes. Chipped in, looking for Beckham to win. Does win it. Van Nistelrooy! Oh, it's 2-2! Would you believe it? You can never write Manchester United off. And now he's smiling. Van Nistelrooy on as a substitute. Gets goal number 21 for the season, and the United fans delirious in their celebration. Beckham's header was wonderfully planted back. He took it on his chest, then volleyed it past Peter Schmeichel, and right from the jaws of death, from the jaws of defeat, Manchester United have got back on level terms. What a fantastic finish from a player absolutely on top of his form.
Injury had kept captain Marvel Brian Robson out of the League Cup final at Wembley. He was determined not to miss out a second time.
Brian Robson! Absolutely typical. So typical of Brian Robson that his awareness created the goal. Grimes with the ball in. Now look at the way Robson reacts here. He almost glides in past the defender and sweeps his shot into the Arsenal net, and United lead.
On a windswept night in Sheffield, it took United's Welsh Wizards to unlock a determined defence.
Header by Hughes. It's been coming. Sheffield United 0, Manchester United 1. And the man they call Sparky has put the spark into Manchester United again. Looping cross, emphatic header.
Following a dramatic World Cup appearance, a young Irishman continued the United fairy tale.
Norman Whiteside! It's taken them a long time, but at last Manchester United forge in front, and it's Whiteside who scored. Couple got away down the left here. No one really tight on him, and they certainly weren't tight on Whiteside, who had time to control it before steering it home.
Manchester United did not participate in the 2000 FA Cup, but they were back in 2001, and after just 7 minutes, Fulham probably wish they weren't. Ole Solskjaer very rarely misses the target when presented with half a chance. His first-time effort caught Fulham cold. United went on to win this one 2-1.
Manchester United goes for a number 20, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Brian Robson had typically spent much of this season recovering from injury, but for the big games he always seemed to be back in time. In this match against Oldham, he ran onto Neil Webb's through ball to put United 1-up. The game ended in a thrilling 3-3 draw, but Robson would go on to lift the cup that year for a record-breaking third time. Ryan Giggs has spent a career providing crosses from the left for grateful strikers in the centre. On this occasion, the roles were reversed. Giggs in the middle to stroke home Phil Neville's expert cross. United into the lead for the first time in this match. They went on to win 5-2. In this fifth-round tie, Frank Stapleton equalised to force a replay.
Gordon Strachan. Good ball to Duxbury. Stapleton. Oh, fabulous header by Stapleton. It's 1-1. United are back on level terms. And what a penetrating run down the right by Duxbury. Perfectly found by Gordon Strachan. And then delivered onto the forehead of Frank Stapleton, whose header was too powerful for Phil Parkes to keep out.
Teddy Sheringham's a London boy born and bred, and he specialised in scoring goals in the capital. On this occasion, the winner in a hard-fought third-round tie against the then First Division leaders Fulham. A nice day out in the capital, but United's FA Cup campaign ended in the next round against another London team, West Ham United. Paul Scholes, a man with a habit of grabbing vital goals for United when most needed.
Paul Scholes scores! United have a lifeline. Well, it's the youngster who's given them it again. Schmeichel celebrates. United are back in the tie, one apiece. And who do they have to thank? They have to thank this little gem of a player, Paul Scholes, who only had one thing on his mind, and he carried it off to perfection. It's a clinical finish from a young man who has the happy knack of scoring.
Mark Hughes was the scourge of many a defence throughout the world, and he had the habit of scoring goals against Leeds United in particular. Here he directs a pinpoint header past John Lukic from Andrei Kanchelski's cross. United would go on to meet Everton in the final, and this was the last goal that Hughes scored for United in the FA Cup. Now for some dainty footwork from a dancing Dutchman.
Beckham. Neville on the overlap. There's Keane. Never let fall, never hurried, Roy Keane. Very rarely gives it away. That needs to Roy. Oh, beautifully done. Beautifully done. That is a super goal. And boys, he's scored a few down the years. Certainly since coming to Old Trafford. Constantly on the score sheet. And that's another one for the album. Veron for that defence critic pass. Green was caught out. Van Nistelrooy just adjusted his footing. And so coolly dispatched it into the corner. Beyond David James. Finishing at the very, very highest calibre from the Dutch international. 23 now for the season. 38 in the last campaign. He's well on the way to matching that. Yet again, West Ham too leaden-footed at the back. Green and Pearce were all over the place.
Dennis Irwin, United's perennial unsung hero, with an understated manner to match. But in this semi-final replay against his former club Oldham Athletic, he took all the plaudits for finishing off a typically crisp move. The goal put United in front in a game they went on to win 4-1, securing another trip to Wembley, where they'd beat Chelsea 4-0 to clinch their first double. Eric Cantona was United's talisman in his 5 years as a Manchester United player. He scored a whole host of spectacular goals. This probably won't make his top 10, but it still gave us one of those unique Cantona celebrations. Love him or hate him, you could never ignore him. With time running out, United were losing to Crystal Palace.
Out comes Gary Pallister. It's Gary Neville launching the throw. And Pallister has done it! 2-2. It's been a day for Manchester United's defenders in terms of goal getting. Pallister against Palace from the long throw, and the flicked header found its way home. Great joy for Gary Pallister.
Coming off the bench, Paul Scholes helped see off the challenge of high-flying Portsmouth.
Ball forward now for Scholes. Might be a fourth for United. And is Paul Scholes, the substitute. Such a good finisher. And Portsmouth just went to sleep late in this game, and Scholes has punished them. Delightful finish by the little man. Manchester United 4, Portsmouth 1.
Andrei Kanchelskis had expressed frustration at his lack of first-team chances prior to this game, but on the night, he let his feet do the talking. A fantastic solo effort against Oldham in the semi-final replay in the 1994 FA Cup campaign, putting United in control and securing Andrei's place in the team. Cup ties against Tottenham are often tight affairs, needing something special to break the deadlock. In Paul Scholes, United have something special.
Scholes has got darting through the middle. Cole to Scholes. Such a tidy finish. And 6 minutes into the second half, a breakthrough for Manchester United. Tottenham in disarray at the back. They simply couldn't counter there with the thrust of Manchester United. Beckham, Cole and Scholes linking up so well. There were certainly gaps at the back for them to exploit, and Scholes is the man to do exactly that.
After a 2-2 draw in the first game, normal service was resumed in the replay.
Corner, Bruce! Well, he batted in the header. And how Crystal Palace must rue these Manchester United goal-scoring defenders. Irwin and Pallister in the first game, Bruce here by the underside of the bar. and it rocketed over the line. Steve Bruce makes it 1-0.
They say a free kick is as good as a penalty to David Beckham. Here's why.
Beckham hits it, and a wonderful free kick by David Beckham. United 2 goals in front, and you saw it coming. Shaka Hislop knew where the ball was going, but he could do nothing about it. And David Beckham scores his 3rd goal in 3 games. Just too good for Hislop. And Portsmouth are staring down the barrel here. Beautifully flighted free kick from Beckham.
Brian McClare, the first man to score 20 league goals at United since the great George Best. Toward the end of his career, McClare dropped back to midfield and the goals started to dry up, but there were still occasional glimpses of his often underrated finishing prowess. In 1974, the unthinkable happened. Manchester United were relegated. In the Cup, they only prospered briefly, with this well-timed header from the smallest man on the pitch, Lou Macari. It proved the winner on the day, but United still went out in the next round to Ipswich Town. By early 1996, United's hopes of another successful season were seemingly on the wane. They'd just been heavily beaten by Spurs in the league and were 2-1 down with minutes to play in the Cup against Sunderland. But cometh the hour, cometh the man. Thanks to Eric Cantona, United went on to earn a replay. They won it and would record their 2nd double in 2 years. Teddy Sheringham opening the scoring in the 1999 final.
To Scholes, back to Sheringham. Oh, that's a great finish by Sheringham. Just on as a substitute and scores within 2 minutes. No wonder the Manchester United team are swamping Teddy Sheringham. Wembley's green acres will have seen few tidier build-ups to a goal than that. Cole with the first touch, then Sheringham. Hardly been on long enough to break sweat. The pass from Scholes was perfect. The finish was lethal. And Manchester United take the lead against Newcastle in 11 minutes.
In this 6-0 thrashing of a hapless West Ham side, there was even a collector's item, a goal from Phil Neville.
Phil Neville could be in here. He is. It's 4. Phil Neville. They're all getting it on the act now. And once more, only a whimper in response really from West Ham. The 2nd goal of this season. Sheer determination there took him past Gary Breen. Then Neville surging through. What a neat finish that was too.
Sammy McIlroy was the last of the Busby Babes, and he proudly carried on the tradition throughout the 1970s. The Northern Irishman had a keen eye for a goal. This one was the second in a vital 2-0 quarter-final win against Tottenham Hotspur. McIlroy first to react to Mickey Thomas's low cross, sending the Stretford end wild. Ryan Giggs has scored many great goals in the red of United, but not too many have come from his right foot. Here's one of them, and it set United on the way to a 3-0 win in a tricky tie at Reading. In the absence of Brian Robson, Paul McGrath took on the mantle, producing the kind of goal Captain Marvel would have been proud of.
Whiteside sweeping it on. Oh, look at Paul McGrath here, stepping up from the back and racing through. Oh, it ran off his knee. That sealed it now for Manchester United. Some good fortune attached to the goal with Blackburn defenders caught upfield. It was McGrath who came racing through here. Such a determined run by him, forcing his way through. And then a lucky ricochet. It's 2-0, and surely now victory is sealed.
By 1997, the country was taking note of a young David Beckham, and here's why. A trademark free kick from the finest dead ball specialist in the game. Ian Walker in the Tottenham goal didn't see it. United went on to win this match 2-0, but they would come unstuck in the next round against Wimbledon. With United trailing 2-0 in the last 5 minutes of the 1979 final, this Gordon McQueen goal gave fans a glimmer of hope.
Joe Jordan in there. He'll be looking for something from the free kick. Jordan can't get there. Maybe a chance here. It's in! It's there! It's Gordon McQueen! Manchester United is still alive here. And McQueen gets back as quickly as possible. Time of the essence, but he's breathed hope into Manchester United's challenge. The ball played into him. One little touch. It's beyond Jennings. Manchester United have a goal. It's 2-1 now.
1995-96 would be Eric Cantona's season. He made his comeback after being banned for 9 months, and with match-winning performances like this, he would earn the Player of the Year award. Cantona an inspiration to the young players around him. His goals were not always spectacular, but they were invariably crucial. In his first season at Old Trafford, the lively Gordon Strachan started to find form in United's successful cup run.
Now Whiteside, no one in a red shirt behind him. Oh, but a slip by Rathbone, and Strachan has scored! Such quick thinking then by Gordon Strachan to punish the mistake by Mick Rathbone. It was a delicious chip, but of course it all stemmed from the error on this sticky surface by Rathbone. Great finish all the same, and a great start for Manchester United, just 5 minutes or so in. Olsen's rotated ball over the top, Whiteside with a header that seemed to be wayward, until Rathbone trod on the ball and let in Strachan.
This third-round tie against Chelsea finished 5-3 in United's favour, but not before Teddy Sheringham had put the Reds 5-0 up.
Beckham again. Sheringham! It's 5! Can you believe it? The holders of the FA Cup are going out absolutely shattered here by Manchester United. They have scored 5 times at Stamford Bridge without reply. All summed up by Teddy Sheringham's delight.
Now back to United's great comeback at Wembley.
Some of the players giving signs of exhaustion here. He had to escape a divot there, McQueen. Almost gave the ball away. It's picked up here by Koppel for Manchester United. Driven forward, here goes Sammy McIlroy. It's McIlroy for United, surely not! Yes it is! It's 2-2, unbelievable scenes. Sammy McIlroy, Manchester United seemed dead and buried moments ago. And Pat Jennings is beaten for the second time. Well, we're heading for extra time here with Sammy McIlroy avoiding the lunges. Cleverly done, and he just prodded the ball into the empty net. And Manchester United 2 down, and now all square at 2-2. And what a moment for the Manchester United fans.
Until the arrival of Ryan Giggs, Lee Sharp was the boy wonder of United in the 90s.
Cantona's free on this right side. Besant coming off his goal line, still Cantona, but with the back heel, but it's Lee Sharp who helps it on, and it's 2-0 Manchester United. Eric Cantona bewitching and bewildering Southampton's defence at that far post. And the Frenchman allowed far too much space and far too much time. Nicked it past the defender, then just hesitated, and maybe Nicky Butt's back heel would have stuck in the mud before Lee Sharp thumped it in. And United lead by 2-0.
Ryan Giggs regularly terrorised fullbacks throughout the country with his direct running. In a game where United had struggled to break down the Middlesbrough defence, Giggs 1-2 with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer created the space, and the Welshman made no mistake to make it 3-1. Frank Stapleton had the habit of scoring important goals in big matches. In the final against Brighton, he became the first man to score in cup finals for 2 different clubs when he slid in to convert Mike Duxbury's testing cross in United's first cup final appearance in 6 years. In his first couple of years at United, Andy Cole was often criticised, but he always came up with important goals in the matches that mattered.
Cole's in the middle, so is Cantona, and then Cole! Stretching at the post to guide it in, and it's 1-1. Cantona unmarked really. And Cole had his wits about him, so alive to the possibilities. But no wonder too, they're congratulating Phil Neville. It was his run down the right that set it up. I think there was a deflection in the middle. Yes, off Erland Johnsen, straight to Cantona, and didn't Cole respond so quickly?
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, celebrated as a player who specialises in coming up with late goals after coming off the bench. And there are few greater moments for a United player than a late winner against Liverpool. United had been behind in this game since the first half, and after Dwight Yorke's equaliser with just 2 minutes left, it looked to be heading toward a replay. As always, Ole plays until the final whistle. Norman Whiteside became the youngest man to play in a World Cup at age 17 in 1982, and in 1983 he became the youngest man to score in an FA Cup final. The first game had been drawn 2-2. It was Whiteside who headed in a crucial second goal in this FA Cup final replay, and United went on to beat Brighton 4-0. Andy Cole broke the hearts of the Roker Park faithful with this late winner.
Lee Sharp for Manchester United into the danger area and a thumping header. Andy Cole. That's where he's so powerful. Sunderland absolutely helpless, and Manchester United lead for the first time. It was a sumptuous ball from Lee Sharp, and it found a punishing header from Andy Cole. Joy for United. Tempting ball from Sharp. And a thumping finish. And Andy Cole gives Manchester United real prospects of progress. But the ball in was simply unmissable for him.
With Manchester United defending the trophy they'd lifted in 1996, they were determined to get past a typically resolute Wimbledon side. Players such as Paul Scholes had made their names in the previous season. All eyes were now on the youngsters to see if they could maintain their form. As we'd seen so many times, when the ball's in the penalty area, Paul Scholes rarely misses his cue. United had narrowly avoided defeat in their first meeting with Brighton. Their inspirational skipper had a disappointing game by his high standards, but in the replay he was typically determined not to let it happen again. Brian Robson leading from the front as ever, the first to react to Alan Davies' layoff, giving United the all-important lead. United and Robson never looked back. He added another goal in a 4-0 rout. Despite a 3-0 half-time lead, United refused to take their foot off the pedal in the second half against Chelsea.
It's Cole. It's his second. It's Manchester United's fourth. And the more Chelsea try to sort out their troubles, the worse the mess they find themselves in. Picked off on the break again. And Andy Cole in the clear. So too at Manchester United. Coolly done. Ruthlessly done.
Mark Hughes had just returned from a spell abroad with Barcelona and Bayern Munich, and he was looking to make up for lost time back at United. The club was still struggling to make their impact in the League Championship race, but they were always good for a cup run. United on their way to a 4-0 win over Oxford. Sadly, the run ended in the quarter-finals against Nottingham Forest. Andy Cole getting on the score sheet in this fourth round tie.
Here's Ben Thornley to run at these Walsall defenders and slide it into Andy Cole, who tucks it away into the bottom corner. Well, that was a great penetrating run by young Ben Thornley in off that left flank, and the ball that he slid in, well, it was either for Solskjaer or Andy Cole. The two of them were together. And it was Cole who swiveled and turned to bury that right-footed.
Manchester United's darkest day in the Cup came in the infamous third-round defeat at Bournemouth in 1984. They were beaten 2-0. 5 years later, they got the opportunity to make amends. Typically, it was Mark Hughes who scored in what was a 1-1 draw, but United did at least go on to win the replay at Old Trafford. A player with a big reputation, Danny Wallace joined United in 1989 from Southampton. He often struggled to find form in a red shirt, but there were glimpses of his potential. During United's cup run of 1990, he showed all his pace and his cool finishing ability in a thrilling 3-3 draw with Oldham at Main Road. Norman Whiteside opened the scoring in this fourth-round tie against Chelsea.
Into the middle to Norman Whiteside! Manchester United take the lead against Chelsea. Alec Ferguson, watching from a seat in the stand, will be delighted that Norman Whiteside has delivered yet again. McClair offering the width and then providing the perfect cross.
Teddy Sheringham came to United weighed down with the unenviable task of replacing the irreplaceable Eric Cantona. At times in his first season at Old Trafford, Sheringham found the Frenchman's legacy a burden, but he still contributed the odd flash of typical cunning and intelligence. This goal helped force a replay, which United would ultimately lose. Before the days of Ryan Giggs and David Beckham, Lee Sharp was the pin-up boy in the United side. On the pitch he was known for his pace, his powerful left foot and his imaginative celebrations. Here we have a demonstration of the left foot and, of course, the celebration.
The Manchester United goal scored by number 5, Lee Sharp.
In Alex Ferguson's first full season at Old Trafford, the Red Devils were under huge pressure to start delivering on the field.
Strachan again, and he's made up so many yards here. He started this move right at the back. Here comes Brian McClair now. For Manchester United, it's Brian McClair! 2-0! That may be good enough to end Chelsea's dreams, but the wizardry there of Strachan. He started it all deep in his own half. He had the presence of mind to keep on running, but then look at the ball here. It would have been so easy just to put it into the penalty area. Instead, he saw McClair's arrival, pulled it back into his path, and from that moment on, there was only one result.
At times in 1994, United were untouchable on the field. When it all clicked into place, the results were often spectacular. Eric Cantona scored 81 goals in a United jersey, none better than this one. The first goal in a 3-0 win, which marked the day when the Reds started to believe they could win their first ever double. Eric retired in 1997, but moments like these have been much missed ever since. Cantona putting joy into the hearts of the Manchester United faithful. We hope you've enjoyed this feast of goals from the FA Cup. From me, Paul Dempsey, goodbye.